Good morning and welcome to the Manila Times webinar hosted by yours truly, Susan Ople, and entitled Creating New Opportunities for OFWs. And to welcome us all, let's give a silent round of applause to Dante Clink Ang.
Honorable Lina Sarmiento, TESA Deputy Director General, Mr. Brian Kang, the B Express Pro Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Raquel Espina Bracero, the PASE President, Mr. Lito Villanueva, the RCBC Executive Vice President, my colleagues at the Times, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another business forum organized by the Manila Times, this one focusing on our modern-day heroes. OFWs merit the national spotlight because, as we all know, they represent a key pillar of the Philippine economy. Their contribution to growth span decades and, in fact, cannot be appreciated enough. Before the pandemic, OFW remittances to their families here tallied about 25 billion annually. That helped propel the Philippines to become one of the fastest growing economies in the world. The steady cash injection has not only allowed the Philippines to grow a healthy foreign exchange reserve, it has also been a boon to domestic consumption, which accounts for about 70% of our gross domestic product. Then again, that was before COVID-19, which has claimed more than 1 million lives worldwide and counting. Worse, it has brought on a global recession that has not spared any country, including those that employ our OFWs. Since the coronavirus outbreak, many Filipinos working overseas have joined the ranks of the jobless. The total number may be hard to pin down, but from the news, we observe that tens and thousands have been repatriated to a homeland that is also struggling from the economic fallout from this health crisis. We notice because the economic contribution of OFWs is so significant that their well-being is a matter of national interest, if not a human concern. As it should be, the Philippine government was not without a response. Today, we hope to hear an update on the various government initiatives to help the OFWs, the placement agencies, and other stakeholders in their sector. Perhaps we should also hear about new measures and others in the pipeline. Clearly, those measures have to be aligned with the realization that COVID-19 is here to stay. Again, based on the news, a safe and effective vaccine may not materialize as soon as the world would like. Of course, there is a global rush to develop a viable vaccine, but even as we hope for a speedy delivery, prudence reminds us to be prepared for the worst, and that is for a longer than expected timeline. Also, we would be delighted for a robust economic rebound, especially now that the economies here and elsewhere are reopening. But it may be better to prepare for tough times to persist until the end of next year. After all, Europe is reporting signs of a second wave, and the arrival of autumn in the Northern Hemisphere also marks the traditional start of the flu season, which hopefully will not coincide with the resurgence of COVID cases. With that, many of us might ask, what now for the economic interest of OFWs? Indeed, what now for the country? These are some of the questions that we hope will be covered in today's presentations. Let me end here so that we may hear from our keynote speaker and reactors who can address these questions and related issues. But before I yield the screen, allow me to thank our sponsor, B Express Pro. I also wish to acknowledge our organizational partners, the Management Association of the Philippines, the Financial Executives of the Philippines, and the British Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines. Also, thank you to all those watching this event today, including those seeing this on the Manila Times website, on our Facebook page, and on the platforms of our media partner, the Manila Times TV. On a personal note, thank you to Ms. Susan Ople, ITUTS, of the Blas F. Ople Policy Center and Training Institute for moderating. It's good to see you up and about, given your other priorities. As usual, stories about the presentations today will be reported tomorrow in the Times, as well as in its digital edition, which is an exact replica of our newspaper and available on your personal computers and gadgets. We urge you all to subscribe to our digital edition, which is a convenient and affordable way to access the Manila Times, your news source of choice, trusted since 1898. Those who cannot watch the live stream this morning can access the video recordings that will be uploaded later on the YouTube and Daily Motion channels of the Manila Times. Good morning to you all, and now let us begin today's program.
Let's listen to DDG Lina Sarmiento. Ma'am?
Maraming salamat, Madam Susan Ople, Mr. Clink Ang. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Let me share my screen. So on behalf of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, I would like to express my sincerest gratitude to the Manila Times for inviting us in this virtual forum for our overseas Filipino workers. Thank you for this opportunity given to TESDA to share with our kababayans the programs and initiatives that we have been doing for the benefit of our OFWs during these times that we are facing this COVID-19 pandemic. First, I would like to share with our kababayans that the TESDA and OFW community have always had a good relationship. We remember one of the 10-point socio-economic agenda of our president, Mayor Rodrigo Roa Duterte, is to invest in the human capital. In line with this, TESDA launched its reintegration program for returning overseas Filipino workers in November 2016. TESDA has always acknowledged the contributions of each and every OFW, helping make the country's economy steadier and more dynamic. OFWs are recognized everywhere because employers and businesses know that you readily bring with you the right skills to match your jobs. Even before the pandemic, we have the Overseas Assessment Program for our OFW kababayans in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Jeddah, Riyadh, and even in Qatar, Kuwait, Singapore, and Hong Kong. As the COVID-19 cases abruptly balloons to hundreds of thousands around the world, TESDA anticipated that the work of many of our OFW kababayans would be greatly affected. Hence, at the onset of the pandemic, Secretary Isidro La Peña has issued a clear directive to all TESDA regional, provincial, and district offices to prioritize the concerns of our OFWs. We have instituted and introduced new programs to reinforce our existing program and to find new ways on how we can continue to support our OFWs. We call this program TESDA Abot Lahat ng OFWs. TESDA Abot Lahat ng OFWs is the agency's flagship program focused on serving our returning overseas Filipino workers and their dependents through scholarship and retooling. This was an offshoot of the first consultation we had with the global OFW community last May 2020. Without the need to go to TESDA field offices, our OFWs, including their dependents, can now enlist themselves to various skills trainings that our agency offers through our available online platforms such as the TESDA mobile and TESDA website. The TESDA mobile app is downloadable from Google Play Store and App Store. At present, there are 6,020 OFWs have registered online for free skills training. During his State of the Nation address last July 2020, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte directed TESDA to retool our OFWs for employment or livelihood as they rebuild their lives again. In response to this presidential directive, TESDA immediately put in place OFW desk dedicated to attend and assist our OFWs in our regional and provincial offices. This is apart from the existing TESDA Malasakit centers or help desks located at the airports. You know, these TESDA Malasakit centers at the airports, they welcome our OFWs and give them flyers so that our OFWs would be aware of our programs. Now, the OFW desks, which we just created in all TESDA offices nationwide, they provide relevant information about TESDA programs and services to OFWs. They ensure that OFW clients are included in the TESDA scholarship programs, conduct inventory of skilled OFWs who can assist TESDA in the delivery of the trainings, because we know that we have many OFWs who are experts in their own fields and they can help TESDA deliver the different kinds of training. And then the desk also coordinate with various OFW associations to promptly address various issues and concerns. For a more coordinated response, the provincial directors were likewise directed to closely coordinate with the provincial governors in the respective areas of concern. Ito kasi para po talagang malaman natin kung ano ang mga pangangailangan ng mga OFWs dun sa mga probinsya, because we know that the LGUs know their constituents better. Secretary La Peña also directed all TESDA offices to designate OFW focal persons or dedicated staff for this desk. So hindi lang may desk, talagang meron pong tao na nakatutok sa ating mga kababayang OFWs. Just recently, last September 23, we held a National Assessment Day for OFWs to launch the online registration for outbound OFWs. Ito napaka-importante because we know that we have many OFWs are awaiting to fly and work overseas. But the problem is because of the community quarantine level, they cannot be assessed, especially here in Metro Manila, because under IATF Resolution number 47, training and assessment can only be done when the area is under MGCQ. And since Metro Manila is still under GCQ, we cannot start with our assessment. But even then, we have launched this assessment day so that the OFWs who are really in need of assessment can enroll and we can get their profile so that we can provide the necessary assessment. We can even direct them to the appropriate assessment centers nearby because sabi ko nga, hindi nga pa pwede dito sa Metro Manila. So, very accessible po ang ating assessment ngayon at saka yung certification for OFWs, especially for domestic work, housekeeping, at saka yung pong sa ships catering. Itong mga ito po ang ating inuuna ngayon because we were told that there's a lot of OFWs waiting to be deployed and the only requirement that is lacking is their NC, the national certificate. We also introduced new ways on how our OFWs can be assessed during this time that various levels of community quarantines are in place. So if, for example, here in Metro Manila, since the assessment centers are closed and cannot operate due to the GCQ level, we directed our neighboring regions to host the assessment in cases of extreme necessity. We also introduced a portfolio assessment, and we initially, the required number of years for a person to be assessed via the portfolio assessment is 5 years. But starting 3 days ago, we relaxed this requirement. So from 5 years, we only need 2 years of work experience so that they can qualify for portfolio assessment. Portfolio assessment meaning you just have to submit documents or evidence of your experience and you don't have to undergo the actual assessment. We also have the online renewal of national certificates. We know that the national certificates expire every 5 years, but with the online renewal, you just have to prove that you have 2 years experience and you can renew the national certificate without going through the actual assessment. At the onset of the pandemic, TESDA immediately responded by expanding and intensifying the TESDA online program, accessible via www.e-tesda.gov.ph. We actively promoted to the public these free and easily accessible online courses from TESDA. We now have 71 courses in our TESDA online program. So at the start of the community quarantine, we saw the sudden rise in the number of people registering in the platform. Until now, thousands of individuals in the country and Filipinos in foreign countries continue to enroll in this TESDA online program. Just to share with you the figures, from March to September, ganyan tumaas ang numbers, 954,472 registrants, and 75,802 of these are OFWs and their dependents. So there were 1,063,000 enrollees, so 494, almost 500,000 completers of courses. Because the TESDA online program is very accessible. You can, if you do not have time to finish it in one sitting, you can just resume your learning program later. So, and then at the end of the course, there's an exam, there's an examination, and if you pass, a certificate will be issued. And I know that there are many of our kababayans who enrolled in not just one course, but in several courses. In our Test the Online program, we have this top 10 most popular courses. So ito yung pinaka-favorite po ng ating mga kababayan, which is available. Now, to make Test the Online program more accessible, we have partnered with Globe Telecom so that Globe subscribers can access the Test the Online courses even without their data load. So talagang accessible po itong Test the Online program. The pandemic also prompted TESDA to develop competency standards for contact tracing. So meron po tayong contact tracing program. So this was developed together with the Department of Health and of course yung mga doctors from Baguio City who are instrumental in formulating the contact tracing program in the country. So we are now training trainers, not just contact tracers, but we are also training trainers of contact tracing so that we will be able to multiply and be able to contribute to this program of the government. So we have piloted this program in NCR, who batches already graduated, and most of them have been absorbed by the DILG. We are also endorsing other graduates to their respective local government units. We are also inviting displaced OFWs to avail of this free training. This can be a good alternative while they are waiting for other opportunities, whether here or abroad. So next week, we will open another program on contact tracing where the attendees or the participants are all OFWs. So apart from this, in line with our Test the Bayanihan to beat COVID-19, we have also worked hand in hand to provide support to our kababayans. Secretary La Peña called on all Test the TTIs in regional and provincial offices to help the country provide free face masks, disinfectants, and other personal protective equipment to those in need. We distributed this to the frontliners from the hospitals, health centers, barangays, LGUs, and even police officers and military at the checkpoints. As of September 23, ito po yung na-produce namin, almost 500,000 face masks, face shields, and then PPEs. Nananahi po ang mga taga-TESDA at saka yung aming mga dating scholars. So we also saw the need to help affected communities with their food supplies and quickly acted on it. So it's good that we have mini organic farms in all TESDA training centers. Ito po, we institutionalized the establishment of organic farms. Lahat po ng TESDA offices nationwide, merong organic farm, and we were able to harvest vegetables and other products in our organic farms and share them with the community. So, yan po. We also prepared food packs during the pandemic, no? So, I just would like to share to our kababayan yung additional support po ng TESDA sa ating trainees and scholars. They receive 160 pesos training allowance per day, 500 pesos internet allowance per course, 500 pesos health and PPE allowance per course, and there's a 1-year accident insurance. Dito po yung nakukuha ng ating mga kababayan. So, also, TESDA is also very much involved in barangay development projects. This is consistent with the government's trust on food security during the pandemic. Kasi po yung TESDA is the lead agency on poverty reduction, livelihood and employment cluster ng National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, and being a member of the IATF Sub-Task Force Group on Food Security. We work with other government agencies and private partners in implementing development projects in priority barangays and in geographically isolated and displaced areas in all regions of the country. Some of the successful development projects that TESDA has launched, i-share ko lang po sa inyo. Ito talagang full value chain. Itong nasa Davao Region 11, this project aims to assist, protect, and sustain IP communities with Lead Tech Incorporated as AGAC Center operator and EHO Resources as processor, which buys pre-processed agri-products of the indigenous people. AGAC Center was first established in Prosperidad, Monte Vista, Davao de Oro, and is now replicated in 11 other locations in areas including Davao del Norte. TESDA Region 11 has also partnered with San Miguel Corporation in the implementation of other development projects. San Miguel Corporation initially provides chicks under the training co-production scheme and subsequently purchased them after 28 to 30 days. In Region 12, we have Project Pala or TESDA Alay ay Liwanag at Asenso. Ito naman po ay para sa mga walang ilaw, benefiting at least 100 households in Sitio Blit, Barangay Ned in Lake Cebu. This is a very remote area. You have to walk 6 hours before you can go there. Wala pong kalye. So they were trained to install and maintain solar lights inside their homes. This is after 70 years of living without electricity. So finally, this place is now lighted. Now, in Region 8, meron naman kami AKAP project or Agrikultura at Kabuhayan tungo sa Kaunlaran at Pangkapayapaan project. The beneficiaries of this program are former rebels in the Peace and Prosperity Village in San Isidro, Leyte. It's an ongoing project on integrated farming system. The village will soon become a food-secure community supplying high-value crops, poultry, and livestock to its nearby towns. In Region 30 naman, we have together with other partners, we have the Ibuan Enterprise Village, the IPs and other PR-LEC beneficiaries that have been provided with livelihood opportunities. So we assure the Filipino people, especially the OFWs, that TESDA will provide the necessary services and support to help them cope and recover from the pandemic. It is during this most difficult time that we have to do more for the people. TESDA is one with the nation. We will heal and recover as one. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga sa inyong lahat.
We have one of the youngest USECs at Dole, very vibrant, very dynamic, a good friend of mine, USEC Benjo Benavides, to join us. USEC Benjo, how are you? Good morning.
Thank you, Ma'am Susan, and of course to our colleagues in government, kay DDG Lina, as well as our friends from the media, especially from Manila Times, and of course our OFW. I was tasked by the Secretary to read his message to the OFW through this platform organized by Manila Times. My principal was just asked to an equally urgent meeting. Of course, this is with respect to the plight of our workers, especially this time of pandemic. This time, we will be discussing matters on local employment. Because as you know, economy is now opening up, business are now resuming. So we need to take good care of our local workers, especially by bringing them back to their work. But just the same, Ma'am Susan, let me share with you the thoughts of my principal regarding this forum on creating new opportunities for our OFW. To quote my principal, I would like to thank Manila Times for this opportunity to join you today. This is a very important gathering because we will talk about people who are close to my heart, the overseas Filipino workers. But first, let me congratulate the men and women behind one of the most respected newspapers in the land. I am not sure if Manila Times is the oldest publication in the country, but I can say it's the most trusted nowadays. Going back to our business for the day, our OFW. How do we create opportunities for them amid the pandemic? It is actually a tall order considering the many challenges brought about by the global health crisis, but I would like to start with saving their lives. Obviously, all opportunities no longer matter when one is already dead. Ika nga, aanhin pa ang damo kung patay na ang kabayo. So for me, the first opportunity we should present to an OFW in the face of a pandemic is the opportunity to live. The moment I heard that COVID-19 could spread fast and kill people around the globe, the OFWs immediately came into my mind. Sabi ko, this is big trouble for thousands of Filipinos working in different parts of the world. Imagine working in a foreign land, far away from family and friends. The government that is supposed to serve you is thousands of miles away. Then suddenly, a deadly virus breaks out. All kinds of restrictions, including those that prohibit travel, are in force. What do you do? What do we need to do? You will most probably look for an opportunity to go home because it's there where you will surely get help from your family, friends, and your government. It is in your own country that you will feel safe and secured. In the Philippines, only the government of President Duterte was able to do beloved migrant workers. With the distressed OFW home, it is now time for the government to open another window of opportunity for them. Livelihood. Since they have no jobs, the government provided 20,000 livelihood assistance to each of the pandemic-hit migrant workers so they can start a small business. I know it is not much compared to what they were receiving when they were still working, but it is actually an aid meant to merely ease the impact of the crisis. The crisis brought hard times, not only to our OFW, but also to government, which had to subsidize the needs and other displaced workers and even the requirements of employers so that they could stay up and preserve jobs. Despite these odds, the Labor Department tried to prioritize OFWs as much as possible. Aside from the livelihood assistance, each distressed OFW received 10,000 pesos from ACAP program. This is our one-time cash aid for migrant workers affected by COVID-19. So that's almost 30,000 financial assistance. With this amount, one can already put up a backyard business that could offer a very meaningful lift during this very difficult time. The other good thing about OFW is that when they come home, they bring with them the new skills and techniques they learned abroad. Imported ang kanilang kaalaman so that they have new ideas to offer. As such, they become more useful and needed in government projects, which offer another opportunity for our displaced migrant workers. Fortunately, our government has embarked on a massive infrastructure program called the Build, Build, Build. Since it is an undertaking that definitely requires a lot of manpower, I'm pretty sure that many of our OFWs can find jobs in these projects where they will be welcomed by the state with open arms. But in case you don't like construction, we can try other vacancies in government service which are posted regularly in websites of various government agencies. The Department of Labor and Employment would be happy to assist them in this matter. Kung ayaw pa rin po nila ng iba pang trabaho sa gobyerno, may tulong po na maibibigay sa ating mga OFW.
So from the government side, we now go to the private sector, and we'd like to welcome Ms. Raquel Pina Bracero, President of the Philippine Association of Service Exporters, Inc., or PASE. Hi, Raquel. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Toots. Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody, to our office officials from the Department of Labor, from TESDA, and also to the organizers, Mr. Dante Ang, and also the other officers and staff of Manila Times. And also, good morning to my fellow PRAs who are now watching, and also to our bagong bayani, our client, the OFWs, and also sa lahat na nanonood ngayon. I am here to tackle kung ano ho ba ang nagawa at ginagawa ng mga private recruitment agencies in this time of pandemic. So allow me to share my screen. Allow me to introduce our association, the Philippine Association of Service Exporters, Inc. We are one of the largest association of recruitment agencies, licensed recruitment agencies, and we have about 300 members. And who is PASE? Well, the vision of PASE is as being the leading association of the service exporters, committed to best practices, helping its members build their capacity for global challenges. And its mission is to enhance the relationship between the OFWs and their families, vis-a-vis the general purposes of the organization and the specific goals of its members within the environment and context of the overseas employment industry, while promoting the best practices in labor migration. Ano po ang mga nagawa ng PASE at ginagawa pa ngayon during the pandemic health crisis? Last March 17, during the abrupt lockdown in Metro Manila and elsewhere in the Philippines, brought a sudden stop of all businesses. One of the major sectors that is seriously hit is the overseas employment. It has been 6 months since the harshest community quarantine was imposed over the entire Philippines as a measure to arrest the spread of the COVID-19 virus. Through the brilliant minds of the PASE board and its members, we thought of ways to keep in touch with our members and with our deployed OFWs. Okay. Luckily, before the pandemic, PASE was holding already roundtable discussions. It was once a month, but during the lockdown, we decided to have the virtual RTDs to resume to keep our members abreast on issues affecting the overseas employment industry and the OFWs. At the onset of the lockdown, everybody's concern was basically how to make ends meet for the employees and for business operations itself. Saving lives and keeping people safe and healthy, including those of our deployed OFWs, became the top priority of every responsible businessman in our industry. So, we conducted some roundtable discussions, and these are some of our guest speakers during our roundtable discussions. Our Secretary of Labor, Secretary Sylvester Bello, our OWA Administrator, our Hans Kakdak, PUE Administrator Bernard Olalia, and we have DDG Bertis from TESDA, and then we have from the Supreme Court, Justice Raul Villanueva, And then we have also from the banking sector, from the DBP and the Land Bank, and many more. What were the various topics that were taken during our RTD? One is dole compliance guidelines for employees and employers' benefits. Many of our members had suffered a lot. That's why there are some who temporarily closed their businesses, some permanently closed their businesses, and most are work from home. So we guided them on what to do on their employees and staff. And then health and wellness during the lockdown. We know that everybody was suffering from depression. So we decided to conduct this roundtable discussion, not only for our members, but also for the staff and especially the welfare officers handling the distressed workers. So that, because at that time, during this time, and especially in the the early onset of the lockdown, we received several calls from our OFWs that we deployed abroad. So we have to know to train our staff on how to deal about it. And then Corona-19 virus information. Everybody at the start don't know what is this Corona-19 virus. So we conducted an information roundtable discussion in the post-pandemic climate. Passe will continue its quest to open new markets for the OFWs for better paying jobs abroad with better employment security, terms and conditions through its marketing missions. Passe had been doing marketing missions like for Europe. Passe was the one who opened up the Eastern Europe markets. For the last 6 years, we've been doing marketing missions twice a year. So supposed to be we have two marketing missions for this year, but because of the pandemic, we have to shelve it. So hopefully after the pandemic, we will be able to continue our marketing missions in countries that offers good paying jobs and better employment security terms and conditions of our OFWs. Questions on how we can balance saving lives from saving livelihood will still be the questions that will continue to be asked months from now, but there are positive effects that we can learn from the pandemic. Competition in the industry will become friendly. More agencies will practice and enforce ethical recruitment by abiding with the rules and regulations and be selective with the employers and workers that they recruit. Why? Because of the strict requirements on health protocols of the host countries. And we see also illegal recruitment, human trafficking activities will slow down, hopefully eradicated, because of the strict requirements on health protocols of the host countries. In closing, and looking forward to another decade of service, Passe shall continue to work in achieving its advocacies, leading to the practice of ethical recruitment in the industry. Because Passe, this year is its 40th year, so we are celebrating our Ruby celebration. We are grateful to the loyalty and support of our growing members. We thank our pre-departure orientation seminar partners and affiliates, our NGO partners, and the international associations like the ILO, IOM, and other international service provider associations, and government institutions who believe in us, and to my board of directors who devote their valuable time and talent each year to help us fulfill our vision and mission as we look forward to the future with hope and inspiration for our OFWs. Thank you and stay safe, everyone. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be part of this very important forum.
I'd like to welcome and let's listen to Mr. Lito Villanueva.
Okay, so again, in reaction to what our other speakers have stated earlier, I think this is now an opportunity for us to share the initiatives from the private sector, specifically in the areas of digital transformation. Given the fact that, of course, what was stated earlier by TESDA Deputy Director General Lina, about PRRD's statement or mandate of going full digital across financial transactions in the Philippines. No? And of course, what we will now be sharing with you would be how digitalization has actually been accelerated, especially during the pandemic. No? So in fact, we have launched what we call Discartech, which is the country's first Taglish inclusion super app. So I just would like to make mention of this because this was very significant as well in the drive towards digital transformation, given that the Department of Labor and Employment came up with a Labor Advisory number 26, encouraging and enabling all private establishments to pay their workers' wages through transactional accounts. Now, having said that, as I've said, Discartech is a fusion of two words, no, from the word discarte and technology. So of course there are, Discartech would be, a way by which we can show to the world, no, how resilient Filipinos are amidst all of this crisis, no, may it be man-made or natural. Because of course, you know that we are being visited by almost 20 typhoons in a year. We have volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and now this pandemic. Yet, Filipinos, especially our mga bagong bayani, our overseas Filipinos, are really resilient when it comes to facing all of these challenging times. Now, as I've said, this Discartech mobile app, no, because right now we have almost 200 mobile apps existing in the Philippines and over 4 million worldwide. No? So Discartech is aimed towards practically providing that enablement for our more than 50 million adult Filipinos who are considered to be unbanked or underserved. Now, we also had a partnership with DTI Negosyo Centers on how we can also educate and enable and engage our micro entrepreneurs, ating mga madiskarteng Pinoy, on how they can come up with their own negosyante businesses, no? So during the pandemic. So of course, the eligibility is that you should be a Filipino, 18 years old and above. Of course, you should have a smartphone. Alam natin that Philippines would now have over 65 to 70% smartphone penetration, and any telco provider. And of course, you have to have at least one valid government ID. And just to give an example, empowerment begins at home. No, these would be my household helpers. So we're now giving their wages through Discartech. No, so in fact the one at the center ay tinuloy-tuloy niya. At in fact, meron na siyang nagbebenta siya ng load at bills payment, and she's earning about 500 pesos daily, no? So ganun kalakas yung kanyang e-load business, no? So yun nga, habang siya nagtatrabaho sa amin at meron pa siyang extra kita out of Discartech. And of course, you could also do the same thing na without you having to set up your own kiosk or sari-sari store, you can do it on your own free time. Ito yung sasabi ko kanina, yung pakisuyo. No? Of course, pakisuyo or yung pakikisama, yung paki is practically one of the Filipino values that we also treasure. Ito yung nakagawiang pagpapamalas ng malasakit sa bawat isa. So I think most of you would be more familiar with those signages that you see normally in merchants or restaurants na payments accepted here. So of course, in keeping with our thrust of really doing it in Taglish, kasi nga sabi natin, bawal ang nosebleed sa Filipino, na para mas lalong maintindihan nila ang instructions sa Taglish, kasi nga it's an everyday language anyway. So ang sabi natin, pakisuyo dito. So sabi ko nga, sa mga tindahan, makikita nyo ang mga ganitong mga karatula. And of course, ito yung example, no? We run a campaign about this in partnership with DTI. So you will be seeing a lot of this nationwide. At ito yung isa, ito sabi ko kanina, yung isang kasambahay namin. So meron na siya ngayong maliit na sari-sari store na kumikita rin siya doon sa kanyang sari-sari store, no? Na ang lahat ng ito ay nag-order sa kanya through this Cartech, no? And of course, we also rolled out our engagement or our community engagement, this time with Litex Market, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, public market in Quezon City. No? So sila sa palengke, nagbabayad na rin sila kasi nga 'di ba yung physical cash kasi sabi nila it's a vector of disease, 'di ba, na talagang hindi siya safe dahil pwede siyang mag-transmit yung virus through the physical cash. And of course, sabi nga natin, isang kembot lang may kita agad sa Discartech. Kaya nga kung masipag ka lang, maparaan ka lang, at maganda yung diskarte mo, talagang kikita ka. So that's why we have all of these features in place for our negosyante. So just to give you an example, ano ba yung pwedeng kitain sa Discartech? No? So this will just give you a snapshot of how much you will be able to earn out of this. So now, meron kaming dalawang tiyatawag na profile, no? Isa kang ikaw ba'y rumaraket o kumakarir. Kung rumaraket ka, pwede kang kumita ng mga 4,000 kada buwan. At kung ikaw ay kumakarir naman, pwede kang kumita ng hanggang 21,000 pesos. So depende sa diskarte mo yan. So depende sa sipag mo, depende sa kapakanan mo at sa kakayahan mo, na sabi nga natin, ang Pilipino ay ikaw mismo magde-define o magsasabi o magde-determine ng iyong destiny, di ba? Ng iyong, kung ikaw ba'y masipag, kung ikaw talaga matyaga, ay talaga namang maayos ang iyong buhay. So that's why, depende man kung ikaw ay rumaraket o kumakarir, lahat talaga tang Pilipino ay aasenso. That's why, napakinggan ko yung representation ni Deputy Director General Lani, TESDA, no? So, and of course, sa PASE, no? Sana inisip ko nga kung if we could have a potential collaboration with TESDA and PASE, while the TESDA mobile app now has, that offers skills training and free assessment. I hope we could have this collaboration where this Cartech now could provide alternative livelihood, insurance, the 3.25 interest on savings, bills payment, fund transfer, government payments, telemedicine, and of course, within this quarter, last quarter of the year, yung loans marketplace at skills marketplace. So I hope we can, after this call or after this session, we could also have this collaboration, because at the end of the day, it is more of a public-private partnership with the aim of really providing the assistance to our overseas Filipinos. And of course, just to give you the things that we've been doing, no, in terms of really pushing massively digitalization in the Philippines. In fact, we started our disbursement of digital. We started our digital disbursements during the hard lockdown, no, as early as March. No? Ito nakita niyo sa screen na to, ito ay nagaganap sa iba't ibang parte ng Pilipinas. Yung the photo at the center, ang tawag ko dyan, cash on a stick. No? Napaka innovative, napaka-creative ng Pinoy. So gumawa siya ng yung perang binibigay niyang cash, binibigay niya through a stick, no? So para merong social distancing protocol. At may it be in rugged terrain, mountainous areas, or even in coastal towns, our platforms are actually available through our payout partners, and our payout partners would include rural banks, MFIs, co-ops, and even sari-sari stores or pawn shops all throughout the country. So these are some of the examples or some of the photos taken during the actual payout. No? So talagang blockbuster ang ating ayuda program, no? Especially for our 4Ps or Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program by DSWD.
Thank you for joining me here this morning. I'm Brian from The Express. My goal today is to help you to understand what is cryptocurrency, how you can use it as remittance and as an investment. Also, during my talk this morning, I will provide you with some background about our company and why is it so important to present here our service. The contents of this slide is graphical data of OFW remittances in millions in US dollars. Cash sent home by Filipinos living and working abroad hit 29.7 billion US dollar on year 2016. There's a 5.33% increase in the remittances in 2017 by recording 31.29 billion USD. The remittance continuously to rise in year 2018 and 2019 by 32.2 billion US dollar and 33 billion 467 million US dollars. In this section, I will summarize what our companies are about. B-Express Inc. is licensed and regulated by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. We applied for the license way back year 2017. We are able to get the provisional license to operate since year 2018 to present, and we were granted 4 license last month. We have our main office located in the Asiana Power Station. If you frequently go to the DFA Asiana, which is located along Macapagal Boulevard, for passport application or renewal, you might saw our office that is located just in front of the DFA. Feel free to visit us there if you want to know more about the company. We offer free offline tutorials on how to trade and how to sign up and what are the requirements. Aside from the free offline tutorial, we also have the 24/7 live chat support. If you have any question or complaints, you can visit our website and send your message there. Usually, the support representative will get back to you within 1 to 3 minutes. For our product, B-Express Pro, it is an online trading platform for buying and selling Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. You can access it in web and in mobile application. It was developed by our in-house tech team. They are also the same tech team who developed the stock exchange trading platform in South Korea. Just to let you know, we are the only company who have an online crypto trading platform that is a web and in mobile applications, since we want our platform to be more accessible anytime, anywhere. Here are some comparison between the traditional money transfer companies and B-Express by the blockchain remittance. With the B-Express, trading fee is only 0.2% from the total transaction, and PHP, the withdrawal fee is free. You can receive it to your any bank account remittance partner, and you can also pick it up in cash in our office. The process is real time, while the maximum amount per transaction is 400,000 peso. Unlike other traditional money transfer companies, their maximum transaction amount is very low, but they're charging high fees. And also, good thing for the blockchain remittance, you can remit in any amount, any small amount, like 100 peso or so. With the industrialization and the involvement of technology, digital currencies are gaining an upper hand over others. What are its pros and cons? It is worth investing in 2020. Here you will find the major advantage of cryptocurrency. Benefits little and almost no processing fee when it's remit, and very fast the transaction speed and financial inclusion. One of the major use of the cryptocurrency is to send money across the borders. With the help of the cryptocurrency, the transaction fees paid by the user is reduced to a negligible or zero amount. It does so by eliminating the needs to third parties like Visa or PayPal to verify transactions. This removes the need to pay any extra transactions fee. Second, the cryptocurrency have always kept itself as an optimal solution for transactions. Transactions, whether international or domestic in cryptocurrency, are lightning fast. This is because the verification requires very little times to process, as there are very few barriers to cross. Last, the financial inclusion. VCs also have potential to expand financial inclusions. VCs may be used to facilitate and expand financial service for low-income Filipinos and those living in far-flung areas where traditional financial service providers are like banks are unable to reach. Every budding technology will have a degree of uncertainty about the future, and the cryptocurrency is no different. While the popularity is the growing and business are races to keep up with growing demand for its use, it may be too early to know just how big of an impact cryptocurrency will have. As a potential financial revolution, it's worth to keeping an eye on and maybe investing in now before interest spreads worldwide. Here are the 10 countries who actively regulate cryptocurrency despite the pandemic: China, Germany, India, Japan, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Spain, South Korea, and United States. And we are also doing our business in Korea and Japan and Philippines. The Central Bank of the Philippines adopted a formal regulatory approach to cryptocurrency through the issuance of the circular number 944 back in 2017. A number of countries have warned about the cryptocurrency investment scams. In the Philippines, the Security and Exchange Commission has issued several warnings. The United States has also been involved in several crypto-related cases. Another country that likes to issue warning about the cryptocurrency is China. The National Internet Finance Association published a notice on Thursday regarding the risk associated with cryptocurrency. South Korea has also started a pilot program for its national digital currency. The Bank of Korea announced the launch of this pilot program on Monday, April 6. This announcement followed the approval of the bill by the Korean government to regulate cryptocurrency. Japan approved its 23rd crypto exchange operator. Germany published guidelines in offering crypto custody service. India is working on a crypto regulation. For level 1, a client cannot deposit and withdraw since he or she completed the email verifications only. The customer that was KYC level 2 verified were the ones who completed the mobile verification, personal information, and uploaded complete documents in his or her accounts. Here are the deposit limits per transaction. If a client wants to trade in BigExpress Pro, these are the existing fees. Deposit of PHP and any coins are free of charge. Also, we do not charge any fees during PHP withdrawals. Here are the fees for coin withdrawal for the BTC 0.002, for the ETH 0.02, and for the XRP 1. For the transaction fee, BigExpress charged 0.2% to 0.12% per transactions. It is automatically deducted in the buyer and the seller's account after a completed transactions. I'd like to share with you that we have a total of 10,000 plus users starting from the day we launched BigExpress Pro, which is year 2019 to present. Before I end my presentation, I want to say that no matter how serious and sad we are these past months because of the result of the pandemic, there are upsides as well. Therefore, always look on the bright side of life. Let's not forget those and make the best of what the crisis gives us. As the good or SWOT analysis tells us, there are not only threats but also opportunities. Thank you for all being taking the time to patiently listen what I'm saying. I wish you all blessed.